Hello everyone, welcome back to Gokom Jaji Spiritual Channel. Today I'll be talking about the impact of using the wrong surname, okay? Knowingly or perhaps unknowingly so. You might be using the surname of your maternal instead of your paternal, okay? Simply because perhaps your parents are not married yet, something like that, okay? And it happens that you end up having a calling to prior to your parents getting married, okay? Yeah, that can actually have a bad impact on you simply because we are having two parties that have not actually uh, united in spirit. You understand what I'm saying? So it might be that you might be possessed by the spirits of your maternal and the spirits of your paternal, okay? So it only becomes a problem simply because now the two parties are fighting, okay? You will find that your maternal are actually fighting with the paternal simply because there is some kind of like a karmic debt that is actually there, okay? Um, say your father did not marry your mother, okay? Now the ancestors are actually angry because how can the paternal ancestors possess you, or else they know that there is some kind of like debt that needs to be paid before everything and everything. But then remember that in spirits we don't have control over that. Anything is actually possible, anything can actually happen. It's not up to us, okay? We don't get to choose which spirits do we possess and when, okay? So now it comes a problem when you have or upahle, you know, when it's time for you to appease, or rather uphahla badimo, okay? So only to find that how uphahla, you must first summon your maternal, then your paternal ancestors, okay, so that they come together, okay, for your sake, okay? But then now, simply because those parties are in some kind of like a riff-raff with each other, now you are in between, it becomes a problem simply because there are some things that are not actually not done accordingly spiritually, okay? So you will find that you will summon the ancestors from your maternal, and you also summon the ancestors from your paternal, and they come together. The minute they come together, instead of helping you, or rather giving you the light that they were supposed to be giving you, they end up fighting against each other. And then there you are standing there waiting for them to actually stand for you. Instead, they are standing against you. That's when you will find that there is so much going on in such a person, where you will find that the parents are not actually married, and there the child is having a calling, okay? It becomes a problem. You will find that that kind of a child is actually facing more problems, more troubles than just any other child. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's more like it's a riff-raff of some kind of like a spirituality, okay? So there are some things that needs to be done for those spirits to actually come down and stop fighting each other. And the only way to do that, it's only when those two parents actually get married. You know, it's sad because sometimes you will find that the other party is no longer alive, okay? It becomes a problem because you have to pay for the karmic debt of that parent who is no longer there, okay? Simply because you want to find peace, you want to be healed spiritually. You get what I'm saying? It's more like now you will have to marry the corp if you are a male, okay? It becomes more problematic if you are actually a male. Remember that a male should actually carry the surname of a father, not actually of a mother. So if you are using your maternal surname, and only to find that your father dies, let's say your father dies, okay? Now you will have to marry your mother in your father's absence, okay, to appease the ancestors so that they actually accept you as their own, okay. Remember that now you don't belong. You understand what I'm saying? You don't belong simply because there were no rituals that were done properly right there, okay. And now it affects you, it affects your life, it affects your progress, it affects everything that uh, comes along with spirituality per se, okay. It's more like you are lost, so now you are trying to find yourself, okay. So by so doing, you have to do the necessity things that were not done by your father, okay. So you will have to marry your mother for the sake of peace, so that your ancestors can actually become one, because every time they will fight, and the only way to overcome that in the meantime, avoid go phahla the same maternal and paternal at the same time. Give them some kind of like a space or rather time, okay. You can communicate with your maternal ancestors only, okay, and give it some time, and then communicate with your paternal. Don't summon them all at once, because they are not united, they are not one, okay. Remember that the parents are not actually married, okay. So in spirit they don't actually know each other, okay. So that's where the problem comes, because when they come, they be like, who are you, what do you want uh, in our child's life? You understand what I'm saying? And the other party will also say, and when who are you? You understand what I'm saying? So that's the kind of a riffraff that will be going on spiritually, because you tend to summon both parties at the same time, of which it will never work for you. You will be surprised that things are not actually happening for you, and you end up wondering why things are not going in my favor. I'm trying everything that I can, ngiyaphahla, ngiyenza yonke into, but things are not actually happening in my favor, okay. It's simply because the two parties has not actually met spiritually, and basically you are forcing them to get together, and that's actually a spiritual warfare, in short. You understand what I'm saying? So we just have to be careful about such things. Hence, that's why in the olden days, our grandparents and our great grandmothers, they actually had this thing called arranged marriages, okay. They had to do that for the sake of the children, for the sake um, of the future. You understand what I'm saying? Not because it's something fun to do, or something interesting, okay. Arranged marriages are not actually fun at all, because you will end up being with someone that you are not actually willingly want to be with. But then it is it is actually in the good interest of your heart, so that you don't end up being spiritually lost. You understand what I'm saying? At least you will be married before you can actually have children. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. By so doing, everything will be solved. You'll be solving the problem of having spiritual problems, okay. At times you might find that perhaps you don't have a calling, but then things are not actually working out for you. You understand what I'm saying? But then when you go and consult, they will tell you that your ancestors are actually angry, or they will tell you that, hey, you have a calling, you must be initiated, of which is not the case. The only thing that is actually needed is for your ancestors to actually accept you. There must be some kind of a ritual, some kind of a ceremony that is being done for you, for those kind of ancestors to actually accept you as their own, okay. Sometimes they actually slaughter something. It might be a goat in most of cases, okay, and then you will have to wear, okay, that goes is panda, okay, to show that now you belong to that kind of a family, okay. And then only then you will find peace, only then things will actually start moving forth for you. You will start seeing the light, you will start understanding who you are exactly as a person. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So now let's say that perhaps you are not able to do that, okay. So you don't have to summon both parties at the same time, because you are actually causing a riff-raff spiritually, and you are not aware because you're not there. Okay, so they might try to wanna warn you or give you the spiritual messages, but they can't, because by the time when they come to you, they end up fighting amongst each other instead of communicating with you. You understand what I'm saying? So we just have to be careful about such things. Hence, it is important to actually get married before you can actually have kids, because it affects kids in a negative way. Okay, a very negative way. Let's just say you get married and you already have children out of wedlock. Okay, and now you get married and inherit someone else's surname. Hence, the children that you actually came along with to the marriage, they end up being in that surname of your husband. Okay, it's not necessarily their surname, you get what I'm saying, but then they end up inheriting that kind of a surname. You know, it's not actually a problem only if there is some kind of a ceremony that those children are actually accepted to that kind of a family, okay, properly. Okay, they make a ceremony to accept those children as their own, so that they can recognize them. Okay, instead of just you getting married and getting over and getting on, moving on with life, not thinking about the children. Okay, it might be that those children are not actually introduced properly into that kind of a family, and now they are left hanging. Okay, so say perhaps you pass away. Okay, and now the children are left in the dark using the wrong surname. That's how you will find that people are actually using the wrong surname and they don't actually know. Perhaps your parents did not tell you that, hey, this is not actually your paternal father, but then your, okay, your stepfather. You understand, things and stuff like that. Because in the olden days, the parents will actually hide such things from the children only for their own good. Okay, but then in future they forget that those things, they come back as a karmic cycle, whereby it catches up with them spiritually. You understand what I'm saying? So they must be introduced in a form of a ceremony, whereby there will be a ceremony that is being done for the children to actually be welcomed in that marital surname, so that they can be recognized as one of their own. Okay, then that's when there will never be a problem. But then when it comes to a point where those children will actually have to partner, they will partner the name of the maternal and the paternal. There will never be a problem, because there is some kind of a unity. So there is some kind of a spiritual connection going on right there. Okay, but that doesn't mean that we have to forget completely about the paternal parent per se. Okay, because for some reason, yes, they do belong somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? So there is some kind of like things that are actually going on that actually causes people to be stuck in life simply because of the surname. Okay, yeah, people get stuck simply because of using the wrong surname. You will find that they are actually not using the rightful surname, and that is actually the reason why people are actually stuck. Things are not moving for them, they can't find a job. You know, you will find that someone can actually not be able to get married simply because of the surname, or you will find some being married at the with that kind of like a wrong surname, and you will find that the marriages, they don't actually work. Before you know it, the couple actually, they end up divorcing, you understand, things and stuff like that, or they can't even bear children. It's simply because of that fact only, that the surname is not right, and you kind of like don't have backup from your ancestors, you don't have backup from your spiritual guides. Okay, it is very important, very very much important, to be safeguarded by your own spiritual guides, by your own ancestors. So we have to be careful when it comes to children, or rather when we decide to actually want to have children. Okay, because that's the kind of a problem that now the society is kind of like having right now, okay? Because now people end up being lost, not understanding exactly where they come from or understanding their own culture, their own tradition. It's more like a lost nation. You understand what I'm saying? So for some reason, yes, that has to be fixed, whether we like it or not, because if we don't, nothing will actually move. Everything will be over here and there. Things will not actually work in our favor, okay? Yeah, it's kind of like sad. It's a very sad topic, okay? But then we have to address it at some point because people are actually facing such challenges as we speak, okay? You will find that you are having a calling. You can't control those kind of spirits because they come uh, all at once and they end up fighting against you. Hence, you will end up losing it because you don't understand exactly what is it that is going on. You can't keep track of your own spirituality simply because the kind of spirits that you possess are not actually spiritually connected yet, and they all want to be around you and they end up fighting against you, okay? The other party will say, hey, this is my child, and the other party will say, hey, this is my child. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the kind of problems that we're actually facing in the spiritual path, whereby you will find that people, they can't, they spend a lot of time in their spiritual journey simply because there is a lot of things that needs to be fixed before they can actually deal with their own spirituality per se, okay? They have to fix the problems of their own parents, or rather the problems of their own great grandmothers, or rather their great grandfathers, okay? So we just have to be careful and actually pay attention to such things because they can be tricky and be some kind of like a stumbling block for us to actually move forth spiritually, even mentally and physically. So okay, it might affect a person. Some will find, you will find them that they are not able to find a job. Some will find that they can't bear children simply because it is some kind of like a message coming from the ancestors that hey, something is actually wrong. You have to stand up and see for yourself what is it that is happening, okay? Exactly that. So I will be coming back with another part that I will be actually explaining why in the olden days it was very important for the naming ceremony of the child, okay? The naming ceremony of the child, the arranged marriages, why was it important for our forefathers to actually do such things like that, the kind of ceremonies that were actually being held in the olden days, okay? So the naming of the child and ukuphahlela ngwana is very important. It's very much important. It's more like introducing the child to the maternal and the paternal parents as well. So next time I'll be talking about such things, the introduction of a child to the ancestors, okay, and the rightful manner, the rightful way of doing so, okay, because you will find that some children, they are just children as it is, okay. They are not even known when it comes to their own ancestors, but yes, they are there, but they were never truly introduced, you understand? And you will find that a child can actually be facing a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, okay, or finding difficulty in playing with other kids, you know, things and stuff like that. So we just have to be wary and actually aware of such things like that. Remember that in the olden days, we had the immigrants, okay, or there were times of slavery where people will move from one place to another, okay, and when they come to the other side, they will actually uh, change the surname that they're actually using instead, so that they can actually belong to the kind of a place that they are. So I can give you a typical example of what is happening now between Russia and Ukraine, okay? People are actually migrating, moving from one place to another, okay? So they end up switching, or rather changing the surnames for some reason. so that they end up belonging somewhere, because they don't actually want to go back to where they come from. Okay, so now the surname that they will be using is not actually the rightful surname. Hence, some other problems comes from there, from the olden days. Okay, simply because people are moving from one side to the other side. Okay, and they end up adapting someone else's uh, surname wrongly, okay, without doing the rituals that is actually needed, okay, and using that kind of a surname, only to find that the surname will actually reject that kind of a person, and now you are living a life that is not full of fulfillment, or some kind of like a joy. You are not manifesting anything. It's simply because of that surname is actually rejecting you. Okay, so now your life is actually a turmoil. It's more like you are facing more problems, more troubles, instead of being happy in your life. So such things, they affect our lives, whether we like it or not. Okay, so that's all that I'm having for you for now. So I'll be coming back, yes, with another part concerning using of a wrong surname, or and also okay, introduction of children to the ancestors, things and stuff like that, the rituals that are actually being done before marriage, okay, things and stuff like that. So yeah, that's all that I'm having for you for now. Okay, thank you for tuning in anyway, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button, just so you will know next time when I post a video. Okay, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.